Before we adjourn, I would like to address the board with a couple issues, but before I can do that, because this is a special meeting, I need permission from the board to do so.
Yeah, sure.
In favor?
Everybody agree?
Yeah, well,
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about is the recent issues we've had. Last week really brings to light some safety and security concerns that I had and a lot of other people had. And I would like to take this time to take another look at our safety project list and our building project and determine if there's anything that we need to do to further protect our faculty and students. I would like to recommend that we form a safety committee, maybe bring a specialist in here and take a look at what we have on site and go over their recommendations and try to avoid as much as we can any type of disasters such as took place last week.
I'd like to be on it.
And I can offer potentially the aid of someone who's on the St. Lawrence County Disaster Planning Board and for the hospital as emergency preparedness coordinator. And we've met through recently a security audit, safety audit that addresses many of the same issues. And I could ask him if you want to attend a meeting or a committee meeting to kind of review what we do. I think he's a retired law enforcement officer. So he has some experience and we may be able to offer some insight.
let me tell you what we have already. We do have a book that is our standard color book of safety procedures. We do update that yearly. Since we've had several new principals, it has been updated even more than usual. This summer is updated again. Our books have one before the state troopers. That was one of the topics of the superintendent's meetings last year. So they do check, they do come in. Started this week, the state troopers have started coming into our building between 1 to 2 hours a day. One of the things I said to them is I prefer, rather than coming in every day this week for 2 hours, that they come in 1 hour for the next 5 months of time.
Yeah.
Instead of being the visual presence right now. Without having the SRO, to us it is a great advantage having a school resource officer in the building. We all know when that got cut.
What's the story? And how does the resource officer work? Can that be funded by taxpayers?
Could we hire,
Yes.
there are districts that have done that, yes. You
thought
can
there
hire,
was.
and then they're actually your SRO.
Right.
They were at one point, we were fortunate to have our own SRO. We also did our DARE program. At least one day a week they were here, but I mean, it just was great. And the kids knew them. They went into kindergarten and first grade classes. They read books to them. They did plays. It was just a different thing. With incidents between middle school and high school, often we brought the officer in to talk to kids. Called parents and said, hey, would you mind if they talk to your child about this? And that's a huge loss.
They have a large leeway. I worked in the lake for a period of time, and they have such a huge leeway to get people out of the criminal justice system and actually do something with them. And there's a great follow-up to them.
Well, police officers were good people. I mean, all they'd ever heard was negative. Oh, there's the cops. Well, all of a sudden, the kids see this guy walking the halls. He's a really nice guy, and hi, how you doing? DARE program was like that too. Those kids suddenly got a new perspective on what a police officer was, and it was very, very good. I mean,
And the sheriff has
A
a
lot of
leeway of
change,
appointing
yeah.
who he wants who does a good job, and just that,
Right.
And some of the guys I work with were all a great juvenile officer,
Scott Lana was wonderful.
Great.
Yeah, Tom Green, who took over, was great.
Kevin did a good job. He was.
Was he? Okay.
It's hard to predict what federal and state governments will do in reaction to this as far as safety in our school. But
Yeah.
I think that they're going to do anything that's going to help us
Great.
put something like that in place or something like that in place.
And again, that's why I made my point very clear when the state trooper was here, because we met with them probably an hour or so prior to them going out and walking. Michelle actually spent more time with me because I was doing something else at that moment. But that afternoon, the sheriff showed up. It's like, come on, folks. We need to hear across the board, not just because there was a tragedy on Friday. But again, that they are here. That if we want them to say or do anything, they would. But they're basically making presence. So, yeah.
Used to be part of the short-term.
Oh, he told me 5 days. They brought on all the manpower they could for 5 days.
This is kind of referring to as a long-term.
Yep.
Maybe we can look at it.
Right.
So, right, so in my opinion, right now it's perfect timing. We got the project out there. Maybe there's a way we can set some of this money aside or look at the whole thing again. I don't know what our best option is at this point. But if we can have the install program big for some safety enhancements, then I think we should do that.
Well, some of the stuff, we already had on this. I mean, we talked about the buzz-in window. We talked about extra cameras. We're talking about security as far as with staff signing in, that kind of thing, going more computer oriented. One of the things we talked about too is, a keyless system. It doesn't mean that we're doing those things.
Those are all good ideas.
But those are things that make a difference.
Single point
Well,
of entry.
Yes.
On the tour, when they took us around, John mentioned that about the light, the ball hitting the lights, and the back doors were open because of the ventilation. This would be a good time that, if you want those back doors kept closed and buzzers on them, so we know when the doors are opened up, then you've got to air condition that gym because you can't have it both ways. But whatever, I think it's nice to put up a nice, great reception, a buzzer system and video cameras and stuff like this, but if the back door is open,
Right.
what's the deal?
Right.
And if, with students being one in the perpetrators in the Sandy Hook situation, they know the layout
They
of
know
the
the
facility.
school, right.
And they know, you may very well have a friend that says, let me in the back door. So you've got to keep those doors locked, and if it takes air conditioning and gym to keep the doors locked, then I don't care what it takes.
One of the things you can't do, you can't lock from the interior a fire egress door.
Right.
No, you can't,
So-
fire egress, but you can also make sure the other doors aren't opened up.
But some of the things that, other schools you go into, and I know this is one of those, it's unfriendly, but you can't walk all the halls.
Can't have both
You
ways.
can't go, and I looked at tonight's basketball game, because anybody can walk this school, the whole building, up and down, around, into any place that's open.
I did Monday night, the halftime of the first game and halftime of the second game.
Right.
There-
You could have left anything, you could have taken anything,
Just to see
You
if
know.
it could. Yeah.
Every entrance in this
Yep.
facility was online.
Yeah.
We should be able to lock down basically that section of the building with the gymnasium. So there should be a fire door on these corridors that you can lock. There's no scams, so you have a single point entrance and exit here.
I mean, other schools have the gates
Mhm.
that you pull across. And, there's a trade-off for that, because then, but it prevents people from getting into places and.
Because there are fire doors, why can't we restrict people from going any further?
You can, as long as there's magnet control, so if the alarm goes off, the doors
Yeah.
open.
It depends which way they lock.
And it also depends on how many people you plan on putting through those fire doors in emergency.
Right. But I mean, if you're in one area of the building and nobody's supposed to
If
be
you're
in.
coming in from the cafeteria,
Right.
they push out,
Yeah,
so they can go anywhere then.
right.
Then
When
sure,
you're
Yeah.
going down that
Yeah.
hall, which way do they go?
They go this
There's
way.
the exit.
That's what I thought.
They do
So you can keep people from going that
from
direction.
back, from further down.
And I
Everybody
think-
up steps.
And up the stairs, that, you pull that one open too.
Yes.
So that one can be locked. I always wondered why we didn't lock those
Well,
doors.
it's the same thing with the entrances and exits, even in the summer, for sports and things, we leave this whole building open so people can come in from the back way.
Right.
Use the bathrooms, use
Yeah.
the, facilities. If I were a cleaner here at night, I would be petrified.
Oh, I've heard it from them a number of
People can come in
times.
anywhere,
Oh, yeah. They've said it a number of times.
Unfortunately, like every disaster comes trade-offs, and, you will have to, the taxpayers, I'm sure, we understand it's a security issue for their kids, are gonna have to make some sacrifices. Yes, the gates are closed, but there's a reason for it. It's
Yeah.
not.
I think, and I know what you're saying, I think everybody in this whole country will understand that now.
Unfortunately, everybody in this whole country,
This week. That's
Well,
right.
I think
Well,
that's
I
so
think
many-
that's some of,
I don't think
Now
this-
it's time to go
Yeah.
off,
I don't think
accept
this
it.
is gonna die.
Accept it.
you don't think, what-
I don't think this is gonna go away.
no?
Do
I
you-
don't think we're ever gonna be able to prevent everything from happening. We have to do our best.
What
We
do you-
What I'm gonna do for
have to
soccer
do our
games
best.
Um,
and on the playground, how are we gonna,
That's That's why.
But they got some area they can leave from there, but when you're caught in a classroom, there's no place to go.
There's 200 people out at a soccer game, I mean, it's,
They aren't likely to get 26 before everybody starts running.
I disagree with that.
Well,
But you gotta do what you can, you gotta protect what you're.
Right.
I mean, it's-
some
We're not being
actions
in
better than others.
classrooms.
There's somebody out there that can answer these questions. I mean, that's.
Oh, yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Right, and Mandy, one of the things, I'll be honest, and, you know, when we had talked about this before, and having teachers keep their doors locked. Oh, I don't always carry my key on me.
Yeah.
Do you know
That's why
how,
we
you know
have
how those
these,
doors lock?
you know,
The teacher has to open the door and lock it from the outside and then close it. They can't lock it. They have to open the door. I mean.
well, you have it locked at all times, it's really
Yeah,
hard to do.
I
And it
mean-
is a nuisance, I mean, you have to, every time somebody comes and goes, open the door for them, knock on the door, you know. But again, the trade-off
Yeah,
at
I
this
think
point,
if
and for,
they want to save their life and save the kids' lives, that'd be well worth the
Well,
extra.
once you're inside the classroom, pardon the crudity, but the shooting gallery is very contained right there. If you keep people from getting into that classroom, and you keep them in the hallways, you know.
We're behind the eight ball just where we're located, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is probably one of the worst schools in the county as far as a location to respond to, because 81, you got 37, the response is gonna be fairly fast.
So,
You know, Route 3, but
Unless we got a patrol close, it's gonna be half an hour, the most, wouldn't it?
how long does it take you to
Well, they're
drive?
sitting on the hill in Edwards alive. It isn't really as far as you think.
I spend many mornings.
Could you ask King King if they can conduct their own security audit? And if they couldn't, could they recommend someone that they work with that does a school security audits?
That's a good idea.
And then basically, based on the outcome of that audit, we could act upon the recommendations.
And there, I mean, obviously, we got a load of stuff from state ed, and one of them is a security audit. We already have our labor management, or administrative council committee, which one of their issues is always safety. But in light of this, we should probably just have a safety committee,
Yeah.
like I know that you mentioned that.
I would be happy to be in that.
There are part organizations that do safety audits, but those are really expensive.
I will tell you that the trooper that I spent time with today, because Sue was busy and I'm here every day and somebody goes around with him, he was appalled at the classrooms that the door is half glass, right beside it is completely glass. He was appalled at that, and yet he was thrilled to see the camera system, knowing that he could set up a command post in the bus garage, be in our network, and watching the hallways himself on a closed camera circuit. There's a lot of good and bad here.
Right. You can put the small windows in the door that are the furthest away from the doorknob. So even if you did blow this out, you can't get around and open the door. I mean, there's little things you can do to keep a person out of a classroom.
I was pretty impressed with the teacher that had the kids in the bathroom, I believe it was, the kindergarten kids. And she was pretty sharp under pressure. She said, you know, I want to see your badge. And he put it on the door, and, you know, and she was, even after that, she said, well, you know, bring me somebody who's an administrator or whatever the case was. You know, she was right on the top. And that's something that, you know, if you have your meetings with the staff, is these are things that they need to drive the point home. And that made a difference of a couple kids right there.
But we have done that where we've had intruders come in and knock on the door, and people let them in, you're like, no, you don't let them, I mean, and you do practice those things.
Well, then those are the ones you need to have more meetings and, you know, and counsel these people.
Right.
You know. The other misconception I heard the other day was people saying, that only happens in big cities. Well, Sandy Hook is not a big city. Columbine, unfortunately, is not a big city.
I would.
I saw a study where they said it's more frequent and more.
There's a lot of crazy.
There's a lot of
Thanks, Randy. Is that an official?
Are you talking about the?
But we had this.
Well, I don't think anywhere's doing that's the bottom line.
We had this discussion today, but I'm going, we say, do what you can that's practical, knowing that you're never going to be 100% secure. I mean, people with maximum security prisons find a way to kill each other. There's no weapons, no
think so too.
To maximize what we got.
Yeah.
Now, no one's mentioned a metal detector.
They don't
That
work.
single point entry, that's why I just.
I've been in facilities before, and if you crank them down to the point where they pick up all the metal, you'll never get your staff to
Right.
sit on those two.
I don't see that.
I do know that there are some visitors discussing that.
I know.
But,
That's-
I think what we really need to do is get some advice from somebody. I don't know if a medical detector would be wise here, or just a single point entrance would be best. I don't know.
I used to do the single point entrance.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, I'll have to look at, you know, you gotta look at the layout, and you gotta sit back and say,
Administrators standing, like when the students come in the morning, is there one of you guys standing right there just kind of looking?
But there are two staff members on duty in that spot.
Okay.
I have to say, I've come here for meetings during the day and signed in the book and noticed that no visitors have signed in like 2 weeks. I'm like, really? We haven't had any visitors in 2 weeks? People just don't sign in, but I think having the window maybe.
I don't think it's a good time to do it. I think it's a very good time. It would be irresponsible not to.
Yeah.
One thing that has happened this week is staff has stopped people that they don't know in the hallways.
Good,
They
good.
fall out of that habit, so if
Okay.
anything good comes out of it, that is
Right.
good.
one of the things that the airline security has started doing is spot checks. Even after past the point of security, if you're walking down through, they'll say, hey, Tom, hi, how you doing? Let's take a look in your back. And spot checks on book bags and stuff like this are, and you've got to be able to do it across the board. Right. They want to, not the same guy every day, obviously. But spot checks are, bring this package here. Does anybody know what's in the package? These are all things that you can do.
Is there any way that if a visitor comes in, there's a visible sign of, something wrong
We
with
have
their neck?
badges if they stop and sign in.
Is there something more visible, like a fluorescent, something that people see that as a visitor? Badges are, they're easy to hide.
Right. That's our system, a lanyard with a badge on it.
I think a lot of these questions will be answered with the security on it.
And I guess the place is there.
Right.
Exactly. There's a lot of things that we wouldn't even think of.
And when I was playing games at the park, that we were parking on, I see people going down by coming in and out that door down there. It's all my young kids. How are they getting in and out there?
At nighttime, when the building's open, all doors are unlocked.
That door down there is unlocked.
Why?
All of them.
Voting that for as well.
I never understood that.
That's an opportunity.
It's locked all day, but thank you, unlock them. I never got it.
Well, that's what happens. These things are, why do we do that?
Mostly that comes from complaints after supper, people trying to get in the building to get books and things they forgot, and they can't get in, and they have to walk around, and why can't we enforce them?
I'd like to see,
Okay.
first thing we can do right now is all basketball games, just not coming in, use that entrance, lock the other entrance down there.
And we did have that for the play this weekend. Well, at least Saturday when I was here, we did, because we used to use the back entrance and just had the one point of entrance.
The other thing they tell you about the point of entrance is strategic video cameras. You narrow into a small area, and you know, there's no hats, no hoods, none of this stuff, and you get a clear picture. And an intercom, a good intercom, you can talk back and forth to a person who's remote, not necessarily 4 foot away from you. You know, and by funneling down that security channel, they call it, you've got, you know what the situation is. And if it's somebody that it's got a protection, or somebody that you don't want in school, turn them away. Let them complain to the administrator about the fact that they were turned away, but at that point, they didn't get inside the school.
There was a situation that was seen in Memorial Hospital, this was a year ago, where a guy came with a shotgun. And they recognized that they were able to, they have a panic button, basically, they had a panic button, the door shut and locked, no one could get in. He was trapped. They was really quick thinking on him. He was there to do something, and he ended up with himself in front of everybody.
What is it?
I've been the intruder when we've done a drill here. If they do it well, they pretty much keep me moving to where they're locking doors behind me and I can't get back in areas. It can work,
You can, yeah.
but it puts our custodians in jeopardy by being out there when I'm out there, trying to go behind me. And I've been the intruder when I've gotten in for classrooms.
The system can be easily set up where we have a single point of entry, for example, that, you know, they can get into a vestibule area, and if they present themselves in a way where they're being monitored, and you can see they can't get in the door, for example, and you can hit a button, certain things lock down, and they can't leave that area, and you have them trapped, basically. So it's, and that's, again, the security out of it, and architectural help.
And you have drills, drills.
Yes.
Sometimes you wouldn't want to, like,
Okay.
you know, just a common
I
law.
mean, there's such things bulletproof glass, but they can't shoot through it. It's expensive.
But I will tell you that I do not go to the back door at night if I can help it. Because there are a number of times that parking lot is not lit
Yeah.
properly.
It's dark
Yeah.
out there.
Right back there.
Yeah.
And I have a number, I used to, I don't go back there anymore. Suddenly, this kid runs out of nowhere from between two parked cars, and I'm slamming on my brakes because you cannot see. And you have everybody leaving at once. I understand that it's safe. I don't go out there. I do not go out there. People are pulling out, it's poor lit. I'm old, I need light. And so I always use the
more
front
lights
door.
on the
Yeah.
back part of the
Yeah.
house. It's one of the things that.
Why do people have to park back in the ag place? That should be stopped. People back
I mean, for like
there.
practices and that kind of
Games
thing,
are
or,
parking back
Yeah,
there.
games, yeah.
There's no need for it, just empty spaces up there. You're driving all the way back there, you're up to no good. They can't run. I think you should close that entrance in there every game. My personal opinion.
Sometimes there are elderly people who can't really.
Yeah, it was closer to the computer. Let them off the steps up here, just the back there.
that's the thing.
Because I was surprised, I'm parking right here, and all some cars are pulling all the way over there and parking on back in the ag shuttles.
Going to the little gym?
I'm assuming it's for practice.
Yeah.
They might be going over to the other gym for practice.
Just during games.
Yep.
Yeah.
If there's a game, there's a
Yeah.
practice at the other end, usually, I mean, for basketball season.
But for our safety, you can't take it to the other way.
I'm just
You have to
thinking,
walk 10 steps, even though they're coming for exercise.
Yeah.
They do not want to walk them, you know, and a lot of times we do try to encourage them not to walk in the building. I mean, to go in the closest entrance. So that could possibly be
well,
why.
we need to look at all that, you know, trade off one for the other.
But Chris and Lynn said that you would be interested in being on it. Too.
I think you're right, it's the perfect
If
time.
you want more than that, I'd be welcome. Or I would
You would offer?
offer.
So we're gonna start with King of Paint, see what they recommend.
Yes. And they're here tomorrow night.
I'm sure they're prepared.
Yeah. You would like to think,
They're
yes.
smart people.
You would like to.
And they go, that we're gonna have questions tomorrow.
Yeah, they're probably working on the answers tonight.
Right. They should.
So Chris or Lynn, I know, again, I had mentioned to last week, if either of you want to try to come tomorrow. I know it's short notice.
I got
Yeah.
Does that
What do you,
satisfy
what do
your?
you have a meeting?
With the architects.
9 o'clock.
If you have specific questions, what's tomorrow?
Thursday.
That you would like to ask them, if you guys want to email it, I can try to come up and I will,
Or you can just email them to me by morning.
or, yeah.
You're up early, I know.
Yeah.
Wow. But just email them to me and I'll bring them to our meeting.
I think it'd be nice to have somebody do a presentation, even if it's John, who gets the information of what they recommend as far as, you know, this is what our concerns are, and see how they would address it.
I agree.
You're talking about safety.
All righty.
I mean, if they're back up here at some point, and they'd like to do a presentation, I'd be really.
And he did ask if that's something we'd be interested in doing eventually, and just have him come back up, you know, in January, February.
Well, by that time, they can get up with some ideas and say, this is what we would look at.
It might be wise to give a message out to everybody that are looking at this stuff. So
Okay.
everybody's- I mean, it's up to you.
Now, we'll do 11.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
They're
Just so people are
People are very
comforted.
anxious about this.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're not gonna be the first school board to talk about this.
No, some have already had their.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Great. Randy, sorry.
Mandy and Randy, we're adjourned. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned at 8:08.